feel like that's a good filming position for today's vlog. Fuck about with the camera, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of recently I went on a trip to another part of Europe, and I saw a lot of homeless people. I saw hundreds of homeless people. Yeah, and the money in the empirical systems, so-called Europe, is sort of, I suppose you could say, dissipating. It's sort of thinning itself out. I feel like we're starting to see a lot of collapses in certain systems, and you know, the distribution and things like this. I've met a lot of important people, company owners, just from who've sort of pulled out of the game because of tax regulations in European countries. They're retired, or you know, they've just chose to get out of the game because of too much overseas distribution, importing, exporting. Everybody wants their piece of the pie, but the money's just not there anymore for a lot of things. It gets put into all pools, and you see the same in the economy, where there's a shitload of homeless people all over the place, going in and out of jails, shelters, so on and so forth. You know, it's just manic. The topic of which I really wanted to clarify on, being we're 3 minutes in, is something I watched about ants. So, if you look at society, you have to have leaders, and you have to have somebody with a form of energy, a good form of energy, to lead those people, to lead that pack of people. Yeah, and be able to supply some form of faith. So when you look at a colony of ants, I sound like a proper lunatic now, don't I? But when you look at a colony of soldier ants, they have a little burrow and they live in a burrow. And the ants, they come out of the burrow and they walk towards their food in a straight line. And they're called soldier ants because they all follow one another in a line like soldiers. Yeah, very simple. So they find their food, and they finish their bits and bobs, and they take bits of it back to the burrow, and they find their way. But the ants coming out of the burrow form multiple lines, 20, 30 lines. You've seen them in the jungle. But these colonies, they grow and grow. And what happens is, there's a leader ant to the food, and all the other ants follow. But what's happening is, once the colony grows, the leader ant will get to its food, but it will get lost on its way back to the burrow. So it will get caught up in another line of ants, and they'll sort of go round in little ant circles. And then what happens is, they form little circles, the ants. They hit one ant and another ant, and before you know it, there's just a big load of ants going round in circles, and it affects the multiple lines, and before you know it, the whole colony is going round and round in circles, right? Because there's not enough leaders that know their way back. So what happens to the ants is they go round in circles, and the ones on the outside, from the inside, as they start to get tired, they just die. And obviously they leave them. And it's the same thing what happens in society. People go to the colony, they go to their office job, they go to their fucking job in a foundry, they go here, they go there, and they get tired, they come back, they go forward, this problem, that problem, this problem, that problem. And the same thing's happening because there's too many people and there's not enough leaders to lead them. Yeah, probably, yeah. So, yeah, it's very tricky topic, because your average man at the end of the day, he doesn't care about Trump on the telly, Biden on the telly, he doesn't care about a celebrity. He hasn't got that life. You know, it's just the perpetual cycle that they're going round in. But yeah, that's my analogy. It's pretty simple. Majority of my channel, I cover narcissism, right? Now, narcissists, really, they play the part of being like the appearance of good leaders. You know, they have the appearance of doing so. They could be bigger in stature, there could be many variables, but as I've said, narcissists show the appearance of being good leaders, but they don't. They're like a plague on society. They're like a fucking raccoon with bugs all over them, a dog with fleas. The animals find the way it is, but they've got a plague. The human race has a plague. We've got an infection. And for today, that's all I'm really going to cover about it. Yep. We can't keep people in these little blocks. Yeah. They've got a phone and a house, they're sitting there, they're looking at this shit all day. They're sitting in the house, they're looking at this shit all day on the phone, computer, Game Boy. Oh, I've got a TV. People watch films, these bullshit films. Oh, he's like this out of this film, like this out of this film. No, it ain't a film, look. All this is just bollocks. You go on the plane, blokes sitting there watching films. Yeah, like, or it's like they're escaping like reality. Obviously, the mundaneness of most people's lives, you know, but they're escaping the reality of it. Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave it there for today. Definitely end up gonna becoming some batshit bloke that lives in a cabin in the woods. Ta-ra.